Welcome back, everybody. My name is Gregtech, and this is Gregtech New Horizons. So in the last video, I left off having successfully returned from Mars, Phobos, and Deimos, and having collected each of the unique ore veins from Mars and Phobos, and just completing the quest on Deimos just to collect up the dust. At least I think it was Deimos. Well, let's see. Space race, it was, no, sorry, that's under the EV tier. So, yeah, just picking up the dirt on Phobos and then actually going to Deimos and collecting the stuff. You can see I've got each of those quests done. I didn't complete this one. I need to find a tungstate vein on Deimos. I don't know that I found one when I was digging around, but in order to complete that quest, I guess I need to do that. Anyway, with that done, I decided I was going to take a detour and make my way into Applied Energistics. Now, in this pack, Applied Energistics is, I would say, probably worse than Infinity Evolved Expert Mode, just because taking a look at some of the recipes, this can be quite daunting. If we go down to the AE system, let's have a look just at the growth accelerator, and they want you to make 4 of them for this quest. When you open it up, it doesn't look too bad. Quartz glass, thalmium plate, or sorry, titanium plate, ME glass cable, engineering processor, and an EV autoclave, which is going to need you to make pumps and more EV chips. And you're going to have to do that 4 times for this one. Likewise, I don't know that I have that quest yet. This one is pretty bad too. The energy cell, it wants 2 HV chips in addition to some various other materials, but those HV chips are what keep this guy fairly expensive. In addition to those 2, we do have access to inscribers, but the inscribers are also just as bad. If we pop open the inscriber real quick, it wants titanium plates, a couple of fluix crystals, some coils, which aren't too bad. It's just a magnetic steel rod and 8 copper ingots made into copper wires, and then it wants an advanced forming press, which is the EV value, which needs 2 pistons in addition to the 2 EV chips. Yeah, it's a little expensive to get into the AE2 blocks themselves. You might be thinking, well, if those blocks are bad, how about the controller? Well, oddly enough, the controller isn't nearly as bad. I don't consider it nearly as bad as those other, the inscriber and the crystal growth accelerator. If we take a look at the AE2 controller, once I find it, here it is. It just takes 2 HV chips. It's almost as cheap as the energy cell. A couple of engineering processors, really not terrible. It's just these HV chips that make it slightly more expensive for an ME controller. In any case, enough looking at the recipes. I am now going through the process of actually making stuff. So one of the things I was using was the advanced chemical reactor, which you need in order to combine the Certus quartz dust and redstone to make charged Certus. You can then combine it with sodium to get 3 charged Certus quartz crystals, and then making the fluix crystals. Likewise, I was making a bit of use of like this guy, the basic compressor. You can see I've got a few things here and there. Over here, I'm ready to get some setup here for the printed circuits, and I actually need 2 more of these guys because I need, oops, I'm going to need to do 2 more of these as well. Oh, but that's going to require 2 more silicon, and that's going to take me a little bit. The silicon, unfortunately, if you don't have the inscriber, you have to take the silicon dust and take it to your EBF, cook it into an ingot, and then bring it back over here and have it flattened into a silicon plate. So that can take quite a bit of effort there for that. The rest of these guys aren't too bad. Just a little bit of molten redstone, toss it into the assembling machine, and away it goes. So I was trying to basically get everything I needed together and ready to run these quests without needing to take a break. Let me go ahead and I'll kick those guys off while I finish up some of the rest of this stuff. Those two things, along with the 2 diamond plates, I have planned for one other quest. So here I have all the parts I need to make 3 of these illuminated panels. Those 3 illuminated panels then can go into making 3 of the ME terminals. There we go. There's those. There's those. And what else did I need? Screws and screwdriver. There we go. 3 ME terminals done. Go ahead and pick up those rods. And then I'm going to need to use 2 of these guys in order to craft the crafting terminal and the ME interface. But I don't have the ME interface created yet because I need to make this. So, taking those, 2 of those, 4 of those. There is one set of formation core, and there's one set of annihilation core. Does that complete another quest? No, it wants 16. So I'll complete that quest a little bit later since it does need more of those chips. These guys were for making, an interface so that I could take care of that. Let's see here. I need this. These guys here need one of those. Let's do this. Interface. 4 plates. The annihilation, formation core, and 2 of those ME glass cables. Annihilation, formation, and then my glass cables I had cooking up over here. These guys are a pain. If we take a look at the recipe for these guys, sorry, more recipe stuff. The assembler is the best way to get them. You only get 2 if you handcraft it with Certus quartz rod, the Fluix dust, and the 3 quartz fiber. You don't need the Certus quartz rod in order to make these, and you get 3 of them instead. The problem is in the quartz fiber. You can make it by wire milling 4 quartzite rods each, or 2 Certus quartz rods each, or a charged Certus quartz rod each, or 8 nether quartz rod each. This is the path I chose, the charged Certus quartz rod. It takes lathing 2 charged Certus quartz to make that plus an extra dust. They didn't want to make a small dust just for the charged Certus quartz, so doing the recipe this way. And then the charged Certus quartz is, of course, as I said, I make it in the chemical reactor using regular water, 3 quartz, 1 sodium, and you get 3 of the charged quartz dust. And of course the charged quartz is made by a chemical reactor with just some Certus quartz dust and redstone. So with all of those guys made, that means now I can come over here and make my interface. And then for this other quest, in order to make the ME cables, so I can either do it this way, where it's just like a circuit 24, or you can make it the hard way with rubber and a saw. I prefer to make it this way, but I'm going to have to pull out the redstone that I put in there for that other thing that I can't actually make just yet. So I need, for this quest, 8 covered cables, 8 smart cables, so that's going to be 16 cables total. So let's just grab that. Slap those guys in there. Now, unfortunately, the smart cables require you to also have the covered cables. So making the covered cables up front for these guys actually helps. So there's 16. Oh, and what do you know? I didn't think to look at that. I think that takes an ME. It does. All right. Well then, how am I going to do this? I am going to need this guy here. Sorry about that. I was ill prepared for all the work that would go into this thing. Let's see here. I will do this, that. It is nice because it does do partials. And sorry if you can hear, that's my daughter's bird chirping in the background, or rather squawking in the background. I guess it's either not happy or it's entirely too happy. I can never tell which. My daughter always says either he's happy or not. Oops, and then I need that. Now, while those are crafting up, I have been working on tungsten because I would like to do some tungsten steel coils to upgrade my EBF now that I've been to Mars and back. But before I did that, I decided I wanted to make the tungsten block itself. And so it takes a while. If you take a look at the recipe, maybe I'll show it in just a sec here. Each of these tungsten ingots requires 10 minutes at MV power in your EBF. I have HV power going into it, so it only took 5 minutes a bar. And then you need EV power in your vacuum freezer. So I happen to have had a second HV energy hatch that I replaced down in there, stuck these two high voltage battery buffers, and then because I'm using my jury-rigged system, I've got my HV batteries here that I would then just take over there, and I could only do about 5 of those ingots at a time. So it took me 2 batches to get through all 9 of those in order to make this one block of tungsten. And the whole reason I'm doing the one block of tungsten here is so that I can bring it over here and I can place it underneath one of my Shelli Neum. Oops, and I plugged it up. I put it over the wrong one, or under the wrong one rather. Let's grab that, and I need it to go there. And then here is my Shelli Neum plant, one of them, and now I have it growing. All the rest of these are no, but at least I'll get one, and then this guy can slowly start harvesting this one guy, and I can use that to quadruple. Every 9 I can quadruple my tungsten, which will then go into making more of those blocks in order to stick under those guys, and finally be getting a decent amount of tungsten out of my tungstate. So yeah, that is all of that. Let's see. There's 16 cables. Now the cables themselves, I'm going to need to make smart cables, and that's why I was making these lapis plates. It takes a lapis plate each, and let's see, and some extracted redstone. So I can actually make do with not what's in there. Where did I put what's in there? Oh, right, I put it in this can right here. So there's that. I'm going to need to make 8 more of those, so I'm going to need some more of my lapis dust. 7 more of those, and I will need 7 more redstone as well. Get that going. I'll put that in there, and then I'll take it out with my extractor. Put away those for now. All right, so that is that portion of it. If I take one of my ME terminals, my interface, I'm going to need 2 of my Certus quartz screws, which I already have right there. 2 of the Certus quartz screws, 2 of the plates. Let me just double check this guy right here. I need the flat interface, screws, plates, engineering processor. So engineering processor, I'll put the other guy there. Let's just grab those 2 guys there and there. there and there. And then the last thing, whoops, that I need is, this needs to be made flat. And then I need a screwdriver and the soft mallet this time. Some of the other things have been taking the hard mallet, not the soft mallet. Screwdriver, soft mallet. There is my interface terminal. And then the last thing that I need is a crafting station, which is sawing down a crafting table, which is sawing down a normal crafting table, which is 2 flint and 2 logs. So let's go get that. And as you can see, Thaumcraft is alive and well with its warp, still plaguing me every so often with either this damage here, or other times it likes to hit me with the oh, what's it called? With the bats. Love the bats. All right, let me find some flint. There we go. Probably should have had this stuff ready beforehand, but I didn't. There we go. 2 flint, 2 logs, that and the saw, and there's the crafting table. And with that, I then have my AE quest complete there. Soft mallet, screwdriver wrench, that guy. Oh, and I needed that guy in order to grab all of that. Slap that in there. And there's our 7 lapis plates. Put those in there. And that will get us the 8 cables. Okay. For a moment there I thought it didn't need the molten redstone because it looked like the same amount I put in there. I forgot I had 1 more left in there from previous. And that means that I'll have one ingot's worth of molten redstone left over for when I need to make this other stuff. I did early on, I don't know if you guys remember, early on I did mine up the skystone so that I could get to the centers, and got all 4 of the presses. The calculation press isn't used very much right now, so it's just kind of sitting in a chest for now. But the rest of these guys I use pretty frequently now. Let's see here. Silicon press. You don't like it like that? Oh, my bad. It wants these as ingots. Or sorry, as plates, not as ingots. There we go. Get those 2 guys done. There are those, which updates my cable quest. And then the last thing I need to do is make 2 ME dense cables, which is going to require that MV assembler, 2 more molten redstone. So I actually need 3 molten redstone, because I'm going to make the other engineering processors. And then I also need, what else do I need? Oh, 2 glowstone plates, which I put back earlier, and now I actually need them. So we're going to take that out of there. We can put that cell back. There we go. Plop that in there. That is not what I wanted to do. There we go. And then I can take 2 of those, and is it all 8 of those? Oh, it's not those cables. Sorry, it's those cables. There we go. And that'll get me 2 of the dense cables there. Engineering press. Get both of those guys pumping out. And that will basically conclude all the chips that I was working on making. Let's get that and that. Pretty simple stuff. It makes these guys pretty fast. Those two I wanted to make so that I could do the peer-to-peer tunnels. 3 of those like that. 2 engineering processors. Let's just do this real quick. P2P. There we are, this guy. 4 screws, 2 titanium plates. And of course I didn't look and see which tools I needed. Hammer and screwdriver. See, some of them require the hard hammer. And not that, but the screwdriver. Screwdriver, hard hammer. There's 2 P2P channels. So that basically concludes everything I had prepped here for this part of the video. I am, like I say, slowly making my way through all of the AE2. The important one being this guy, getting a terminal, a crafting terminal, and an interface, and now I can actually go ahead and select. I could either go for the loot bag, but in this particular case, I'm going to go for the pattern terminal. And just go ahead and claim that guy now. So I will keep on crafting away. Hopefully it won't take me too much longer to reach the next portion of this video. I hope to get the annihilation plane done. I probably need to get the energy cube done. I don't know about these guys. Like I say, these guys are very expensive, needing that autoclave. I'm not set up for EV stuff very well yet, especially not with the chips. So either I'll come back for some more AE2, or you guys will see me again here when I have a bit more automation set up. I am looking for things to automate, so we'll see you in a bit. And I'm back again, and I've got a little bit more that I've been working on. Over here in my mixer, I am mixing up a batch of tungsten steel. The tungsten steel I want to start getting ready so that I can make the coils to upgrade my EBF to use the tungsten steel coils. Over here, however, I put together the pieces that I need in order to make my energy cell and complete the energy cell quest. And then in addition to that, I also have the materials necessary to make the 16 annihilation cores and the 16 formation cores, completing both of those quests down here for the AE system. So now it wants me to create, I guess I can create a dense energy cell. That's going to take LUV, so that'll be a little ways away just because I haven't broached the LUV, and it takes 5 of the normal energy cells, so that'll be a little bit longer yet. But then also making the molecular assembler. This guy is also going to be difficult. He requires an EV assembler, and do I have one EV assembler? I do have the one EV assembler so far that I've made, but those guys are expensive. It requires 2 of the robot arms to make those, in addition to stuff like, well, the titanium and the formation cores. Those are fairly cheap. The expensive part comes from this EV assembling machine. Also wants me to make 4 ME interfaces, 4 import buses, and 4 export buses. So I can work on those in the meantime, especially since I now have 16 cores, and one of these guys takes, yeah, the interface itself takes both, but then the import and export only need one or the other. So I can make, yeah, I can make several of those to get those quests knocked out just from what I have already. So I will take another break, work on both of these things, the tungsten steel as well as making these other import, export, and interfaces. I'm actually surprised that, oops, the storage bus isn't listed. It may be that I need to make these guys before I see the storage bus pop up. So, all right, I will quickly get together the parts for this, and I'll see you in a bit. And I'm back, and at least a day has passed. I have played for probably about 6 hours. I've been working on that titanium steel. Just a quick update. I was working here on my ME import buses, and then also on my ME export buses. So there's all of those guys. And then the last stuff that I need is the, and I don't know if I have the stuff for it. Let me check. AE system, emptying tanks, filling tanks, ore dictionary output. Oh, there's an ore dictionary export bus? That is crazy. But it wants me to make 2 of each of these guys. Okay, well, first I'm going to go with the ME interface. Oh, right. I am waiting on my tungsten, or on my titanium. I'll do that one off the camera. But I've been using my assembling machine, my little bit of HV power here that runs through my transformer, like I say, in my jury-rigged setup, and my double HV powered vacuum freezer here. I'm slowly working on the titanium. But I did get my tungsten steel finished, which is what took about 5.5 hours total. And I now have tungsten steel coil blocks. Now these things are nice because it takes each one of these titanium ingots 24 seconds to cook now, instead of their usual 97 seconds to cook. That is absolutely wonderful. I guess I could if I did the magnesium and the titanium tetrachloride, which is the harder way to do things. For those of you watching in the future, it may be that you have to go through, and I mean have to go through, the titanium tetrachloride, because my understanding is that pure titanium ore is going to be moved off the moon in a future update. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but if you do, then you'll be taking that titanium tetrachloride route instead of the pure titanium route in order to get your first initial titanium. So we'll see what happens, but in any case, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. I am, as I say, working on the ME interfaces. Those guys just take 12 titanium each to make the casing. Fortunately, that's just the casing and not an actual hull, and then I can convert those that way. And then I'll probably also do these guys offline. Fuzzy cards. Okay, so that'll take me a bit longer because I haven't made any fuzzy cards, and the fuzzy cards require, you know, each of the logic or each of the processors on an advanced card, the advanced card taking some platinum plates, and my platinum supply is rather low. So in any case, that one might wait a little while, but I will probably go ahead and knock out these 2 guys, and I'm assuming that after the interface quest that there's going to be a liquid interface quest as well. So I'll take care of those offline, bring you guys in, bringing you guys back in the next video. I am looking forward to making, well, I'm not looking forward to making more titanium or tungsten steel, but I will be making a bit more tungsten steel so that I can make the EV dynamo hatch and put it to a large gas turbine. That quest being up here in the multi-block goals. Let's see here. This guy? No, this guy right here, the large gas turbine. So I'll be looking to put together this guy so that I can start getting some EV with the Hurricane turbine blades. So hopefully we'll have EV power before too long. That will be fantastic, and I will see you guys in the next video. Till then.